This is a, by the decal, I'm thinking it's a late 80s Schwinn cruiser. I couldn't find the serial, I found the serial number on the dropout, but I couldn't decipher it. But all the indications, the decal, the stem, the steel wheel, hubs, and the fork design, I'm pretty sure this is a early 80s, late 80s. I'll see if there's something stamped here on the fork itself. But I'm gonna turn this one into a Strandie. So here's a frame I'm gonna use. This is I'm not sure if this is the 73, but I have another one there. It's either a 73 or a 77 Camelback. So this would have been originally, I think this one was a Sturmey Archer 3-speed one. But the fork is actually a Univega, one of their Rovers or their Alpine mountain bike forks. That just the color just matches almost perfectly. It's kind of like a maroon color. But I already cleaned this one up and I had it on a BMX build, and I got rid of the components off it. Somebody wanted more components than I wanted. So this is the frame I'll be using. And I'm going to use that. This is a pork chop special here. It's a, looks like the old Moto Mag or Snowflake. But it's I picked this up used from somebody. Well, it wasn't used. It just, somebody did Made USA. I'm sure you can still pick these up at Pork Chop. It's a 39. And I do have some old school mushrooms. These were off a old mountain bike I had found. I did a lot of salvage of mountain bikes, but these are the real deal. These are old school cruiser bars. These came off a Laguna that I had picked up. They're aluminum. Aluminum, nice, wide. The seat was just a Schwinn. Old school, real nice shape. That's the C-clamp I'm going to use. This is an old school. This one came off the Laguna that I pulled off. Some components, C-post. All right, with this big tire on here, since this frame was designed for a 26 and 1 3/8 wheel, these don't have a lot of clearance. The frames don't for the tire here. So as you can see, I've put the wheel all the way back. Well, you can't see that, but I'm telling you, I got the wheel all the way back setting the chain stays. So as I slide it forward, there's going to be less and less clearance, especially if your wheel's not true. Then you're going to have some issues. So I'm going to try to clearance this a little bit down here and get this opened up in the lower chain stays so I can get some more clearance. Alright, so I just put a clamp on the back here to pull the rear dropouts together, and now I'm going to just wedge couple pieces of wood in there and try to force this open and see if I got any results. The reason I want to put these chain stays closer, so kind of try to put more stress in this area and see how this works. It looks like it just collapsed. Looks like I maybe put a little dent there, maybe a little dent there. So let's see what that does. We get our tire back on there. Alright, so we had success. Now we've got some clearance on our stays. I get that to focus on both sides. Down low. We're not rubbing, and we're sitting about midway through the chain. Where the axle is going to hit the dropout, rear dropout here, and we have clearance now. We're not going to be rubbing. So if our tire's not perfectly true, which this one definitely is not, it's actually got clearance, so we're not hitting. So the technique I used was I did put a clamp back here to hold the chain stays together, and I just drove a 2x4 or a piece of wood, which just happened to have actually it's a 1x3. It's not a 2x4, it's a 1x3. Might be a little smaller because I trimmed this down for a project. But anyway, that was wedged in between the chain stays, the lower chain stays, and I just opened it up. You can see the kind of the damage on the frame right there, and it opens up. That's what's nice about these older Schwinns, is they're pretty stout, you know, heavy gauge tubing, and you can flex on them and beat on them some. Some people just, you know, either they'll stand on the chain stays on one side and they'll just pull it apart, kind of like a wishbone. I like to kind of finesse a little bit, but that is clearance now, so we don't have any problems with running a big fat tire on this smaller. But the clearance at the top is always pretty good, so no problems there. All put together. The frame, actually, after I looked up the serial number again, is a 71, February 71. So we actually got some really nice weather this morning. This is the Pacific Northwest. So retained from the cruiser originally bought was the stem, the crank and bottom bracket, and the wheel set with the tires. Bought it for 40 bucks. So if you had to buy a set of tires these days, you're going to spend probably $40 on tires. And these are actually in good shape. They're not dry rotted, cracked. So they'll hold there. Somebody took care of this bike. They had it stored up, or the original one. And then the Camelback frame, or the Speedster frame, which I think this was a 10-speed, or no, it was a 5-speed. Because you have a cable run here. If it was a Sturmey Archer 3-speed, you would not have this, because this is for the derailleur. The Sturmey Archer would just have a clamp here. So that the frame the bike I originally bought, I probably maybe have 150 in this bike altogether, if that. From the parts salvaged off other bikes. Alright, it was a fun build. It's pretty quick and easy, down and dirty, no brakes have to worry about, no shifter cables. It's a little bit small for at least when you sit on it. That's why I like to get the laid back seat post. You can get those off eBay, or sometimes Pork Chop has them. But you gotta get them for old Schwinn frames. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and please subscribe. I've got a couple of bikes in the works right now I want to put together.